Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Haley, a question about being recognized. When Forrest Gump came out, what would people say to you on the street when they saw you?
They just, most of the time they would say, that was such a great movie, I love that movie. How was it working with Tom Hanks and that? But they were nice, yeah.
Well, how did you adjust to being recognized? Like, how would people, would they start looking at you and can you see them kind of wondering? Or?
Yeah, like sometimes when you're walking through places with a lot of people, you see some people stopping and going, like that. And they go, no, that's not him. But they're real nice. It doesn't bother me. Yeah.
You know, a lot of actors do TV commercials. And the thing about TV commercials is you have to do weird things over and over and over again. Now, what kinds of things did you have to do in the commercials that you've done?
Well, in a Lay's potato chip commercial once, I flew half of a jetliner inside a studio. I was in the pilot seat for a Lay's potato chips. Dressed up in a toga once for a Ford commercial. And let's see. Was in the park for a pizza commercial, but stuff like that.
What did you have to do in the pizza commercial?
I was standing, it was raining, and I was standing in the playground, the sand area, and I was looking up into the camera up there, and I said, big would be an understatement. That was the first line I ever said.
Well, a question about this movie. You know, there's a character in the movie who's a child actor who's been in a TV commercial, and he thinks he's kind of big, and he's kind of like lording it over everybody.
Yeah.
Have you ever met another child actor who had that kind of attitude, and how do you handle that when you see that?
Well, I've been lucky enough to, most of the kids that I've worked with are really nice, and it doesn't go to their head. They're just great to work with. They're like normal kids. They're like friends at home. But I guess people like Tommy Tomasimo, guess you just have to get along with them, because you have to work with them sometimes. There's people like that.
Now, with this movie, it seems one of the strange things for the actors would be to be on set and see all these other extras who are the victims with the bloody makeup. Now,
Yeah.
How surreal was that on the set?
It was kind of gross. You sort of walk around like this all day, especially when they're eating lunch and they're in the table in front of you and you're trying to eat. Gosh, the day that we had the most people there, we had all kinds of people that were decapitated in some places and people with blood going down their faces and necks broken and stuff. And we were having crab that day, so it wasn't that great of a lunch. I didn't eat that much.
Okay, that's right. Now, your co-star in the film, Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like working with him? Were you kind of surprised by some of the things he would do?
You know, he always is. He just works so hard. He doesn't just sort of relax on any movies. He works really hard. He really makes sure that everything is just perfect. He really wants the project to be good. So I was really surprised at how hard he worked, and it paid off. You can see how hard he worked in the movie.
Now, he's has an interest in a certain restaurant chain. I mean, were you ever treated to a certain Planet?
Hollywood's. Well, we went to D.C. while we were shooting in Philadelphia. We had a break, and we decided to take a trip to Washington. And when we left, Bruce was saying, go to Planet Hollywood and tell the waiter that Bruce Willis sent you. So we tried to go, but there was a party there. But we go to the Planet Hollywood here sometimes.
Yeah, and a question, weird scenes to film in the movie. There's one scene where the room is very cold and we see your breath coming off. I think some people might think that's some kind of special digital effect. Now, what do they do exactly to get that effect?
They built a big room and they insulated all of it, and they made it so that they could change the set so that it could look like different parts of the house, and they had to mock exactly what it was in the normal set. And then they put all the big tubes with all the air hoses and everything, and they cut holes in the walls and stuffed them in there. Then they had these buckets full of ice water. And they had these little spray things that looked like toy guns, except they were brass with long nozzles. And they had all of them surrounding the place, and they would be just shooting mist in the air for humidity. And they had one of those big clock thermometers on the wall, and all the air conditioning and the mist going made it about 32 degrees, which is what it has to be for your air to be seen.
So how uncomfortable was that?
And I was in my underwear, so I was cold. I was drinking hot chocolate, and they had one of those big wool blankets around.
Okay, and last question. I've always been curious. You're obviously a very bright young man and very professional. I mean, you stood up when I walked in, shook my hand, and a lot of adult actors don't do that. Well, when you first meet adults, I mean, how do they treat you when they know that you're an actor? Are some people a little bit standoffish? Are they a little bit nervous? Or how do people react to you?
The people that I work with, they're usually nice. They treat me like I'm an adult with them, and I'm glad. I like working with people that nice, and it just makes it work so much easier.